Hello, and welcome back to another exciting adventure in the world of how to make it easy for people to give you money. My name is Michael Mollenhauer. I'm the president of One to One Network. We are a digital marketing company with locations in the lovely town of Laguna Beach, California, and also in southern Utah in St. George, Utah. I have a very special guest today. His name is Jason Wells, and Jason is the co-founder Chief Strategy Officer for AI Dev Lab. Jason, how you doing today?
Fantastic. Thanks for having
Well,
me on.
oh, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm going to give them just a teaser about you. So, you have got a background that is really unusual in the world of AI. You've been a strategy consultant at Kearney, a senior executive at Sony Pictures, an MBA from Wharton, and an MS in applied mathematics. Other than that, you're not busy?
I try to get focused once in a while.
Oh my gosh. And guys, you need to, I was teasing Jason earlier saying, since he's got an MS in math, he's going to teach us how to divide fractions later on, since nobody knows how to do that. Oh my gosh. You ready for a wild ride, Jason?
Well, you can see my career's been a wild ride, so bring it on.
I love it. First, we do need to thank our show supporters. I've got Aaron Stringer, who's the owner of Red Cliff Legal in St. George, Utah. He's a legal expert. He's the guy you need to contact when you're looking to set up an estate plan or a trust. You can find him online at redclifflegal.com. That's redclifflegal.com. He also has a podcast called Legacy Made Clear. It's available on YouTube and all the major podcast channels. Also, we want to thank our good friend Bob Richards of Berkshire Hathaway. Bob Richards and Associates Real Estate in St. George, Utah. When you're looking for a true real estate pro and you're ready to buy or sell a new home, you need to call Bob. He's the guy you need to contact. You can visit his website, buyutah.com, or Bob at buyutah.com. Bob also has a great real estate podcast called Let's Get Real. It's available on all the podcast channels. Back to you, Jason. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for sticking with me through all those lovely messages. So, we've introed you a little bit, but please give us a little bit more insight about your background, both professional, and I want to know a little bit more about you as a person and what led you to this wild rodeo ride that you're now in with AI, with the AI Dev Lab. You ready for that? Take it away.
Let's see. I once was speaking to a number of college students about entrepreneurship and things like that and business. And I kind of walked through my background. They asked some questions, and somebody came up afterwards and he said, "It sounds like you really didn't know what you wanted to do in your life."
Do it.
Kind of came across as a bit of an insult, but actually, it's true. There's so many things I enjoy and so many things I like to do. Plus, when you stay on kind of the cutting edge of new things, you're always moving.
Right.
And I started off with a very technical degree, economics as an undergrad, and got into econometrics, and then went and did a master's in applied mathematics, and was building models and forecasting and pricing things. So yes, I actually started out in the AI world in the 90s. So
we had AI in the 90s?
We had AI in the 60s, actually.
Oh. Or was it in the 60s? How did I miss that?
Yeah, we've been living with these models and the predictive models and things. This is all the foundation of where we are. But wow. Yeah, so I've been in this space for a long time, but I kind of went out into more of the leadership. You move into management. So at Sony Pictures, I was also still on that cutting edge, but it was in the digital content. So what do we do with digital? And now we had movies that were being streamed on telephones, on computers. In fact, I tell this story about I lived in London at the time, and I my boss, who was the president of Sony Pictures Television International, said, "Hey, I need you to go onto the set of the James Bond set of Casino Royale and get the digital rights for streaming the movie." Sony owned the distribution rights, but the franchise was owned by the Broccoli family. So I fly into Prague. I find the set, I weed through. They give me a little tour, really cool, by the way. But then I get to the back office, and I spend 3 hours trying to get the digital rights. And basically, there's no way I'm ever going to let my movie, James Bond, be shown on a small screen like a laptop or a telephone.
Really?
Yeah. So I didn't get that. I got little snippets, all I could take. But needless to say, it's an interesting story, right? We all kind of know how that's played out. But we're kind of at that same stage with AI. I think we're pushing the corner where most of the people are realizing this is here to stay. It's not just a fad.
Oh, yeah. A substantial portion of my business is predicated upon AI, not the least of which of what we're doing right now at this very moment through my program here that we're recording both audio and video for the radio station and for all the podcasts, and the fact that we've got all these cool AI tools built into my computer. And quite frankly, it'd be difficult for me to even run my business without it. Something that was unfathomable to me 3-4 years ago, even.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, it's gone completely wacko. What is driving this surge? I mean, and I know before I stopped, I know we're just at the tip of the iceberg. We've just barely going down. What's causing
it is accelerating even still, right? The pace at which we're developing. But here's what's driving. There's a couple things that are happening all at the same time that have come together at the right time. One is the compute power and the semiconductors, right? The GPUs, the ability to produce these machines that can actually handle these kinds of trillions of computations. And then we have unique and new methods and approaches. In fact, it was 2017 when an article came out from a Stanford research group and a Google Stanford collab called "All You Need Is Attention," or "Attention is All You Need." This is a research. And this is what led us to generative pre-trained transformers. It was the first article that was talking about attention and transformer models. So those types of models have come. The compute power has come. So those things are hitting it at the same time where now we can actually do this kind of computational power. We've got models, consider this, that have over 1 trillion different little tuning dials. They call them hyperparameters. 1 trillion. So you're running these calculations that are just so extensive. So that's what's driving that. But here's the other thing. The other thing is when you make an investment, for example, in biotech, or you make an investment in any medical or pharmaceuticals or building materials or anything like that, that benefits that area, biotech. When you make an investment in artificial intelligence, that is actually benefiting every other science, every other industry. So these advancements are now benefiting widely across the board. I think of it a lot like electricity. Electricity benefited everyone. It didn't matter what industry you were in. It didn't matter if you were at home cooking or working late at night. It didn't matter if you were in a factory. Electricity impacted across the board. And that's where we stand with AI right now.
So this is kind of going to eventually, this will be the universal common denominator, just like electricity, so to speak.
We won't have AI, we won't be talking about AI in the same way. It'll just be the way of life.
Yeah. So you mentioned the advanced technology as it performs to computer power processing and stuff like that. Right now, we're still using chips. How much do you think this is going to accelerate even faster once we start going quantum?
Well, you look at quantum, and it will accelerate at great speeds. I mean, I actually see that 5 to 10 years out. I think we still have a ways, and we're going to
Yeah.
have to, honestly, we're going to have to do most of that in space. Most quantum computing will have to be done in space, where we have because it has to be so cold.
Yeah.
Right now many people, and in Utah, there's some discussion about Box Elder and a data center and the amount
Yeah.
of energy it takes to cool the machines and allow them to run. So there's a few steps we have to go, but that's accelerating. That's going to come. And also, we have blockchain as well, which allows
Yes.
for transactions, right? That you can verify and validate and watch on the chain that are protected and encrypted. So a lot of things are coming together right now.
Yeah, it's really happening fast. A few months back, I had a guy on the show who is really into quantum, and he was both an eye opener and incredibly terrifying. It's like he was going. He said, "Mike, once this thing starts going," and he says, "We're really close. We're not quite there yet, but once this starts happening," he said, "You better buckle up because it's going to
Yeah.
change everything in the entire world." And I like your comment about it's got to be done in space because, here on planet Earth, oh yeah, that's where we are, Earth, and and you're right about the data center that's going in near Salt Lake City. Is that
It's
is
Box
it
Elder County. It's up in the northern part of. It's a
okay? And I heard that
400
there
acre. I think it's a huge 400-acre data center.
400 acres. It's bigger than most cities.
Yeah.
Some cities, and I heard they're looking at perhaps putting one in around Cedar City. And I know a lot of people are upset because it takes so much water to cool these things. And I think the solution to put it in space is kind of the perfect answer. So we don't have to use up our earthbound resources here. We can use that stuff, which has an infinity of nothingness and cold, and it should work absolutely
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. It's perfect for it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your business. Tell us about AI Dev Lab, what you guys do, and what your mission is, and what are the
Yeah.
benefits that you provide to businesses.
Yeah. Absolutely. So AI DevLab is a development firm. That's how we got our start. Actually, I should probably step back because one of the things we haven't mentioned is I started a company in 2010 to 2020, which was focused on automatic analysis or machine analysis of calls. You've all heard this call may be recorded for quality and monitoring purposes in a call center. Well, at the time in 2010, almost nobody listened to those calls. You couldn't. If you have a 1,000-seat call center and you have 8 hours in a day, that's 8,000 hours of phone call recordings. Who's going to listen to it? And
That means
so we started working on that problem. It actually took, the first 5 years, the technology wasn't there. So we did the mechanical Turk model where we kind of did it by hand in the background and we sped it up as fast as we could with software. But then we actually got to the point where we built models and it could analyze all those calls instantly. So instead of like 1 in 1,000 calls that were listened to, we could have the machine evaluate all 1,000 of those calls and have each call ready within 25 seconds after the phone call.
oh my gosh.
And so when I exited that company and we had raised venture capital and I was looking for something else to do, and a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, I know you built this AI software that did this thing. Could you build me something?" And so that's how AI DevLab got started. People wanted to know how to get those same benefits. And so we started building that. But what's moved over time is now we're to the point where so many people can actually use artificial intelligence to build their own things by just being able to understand your business model. If you understand your processes and your business model, you can actually go and build a piece of software for yourself. And you don't have to go and hire somebody. Things that we did for $50,000 and $100,000, you can now do in a weekend or a week. I mean, it's mind blowing. Okay, I'll go back. Remember, I talked about
Yeah.
the call analytics that we did.
Yeah.
We actually had a team listen to 100,000 calls and mark and underline and score and tabulate on every single one of those calls to
Oh my
train the
gosh.
machine, the artificial intelligence, to learn how to treat those transcripts. Well, 2 years ago, I was thinking, wow, this generative models, the Chat GPT, is pretty good now. What if I put a call transcript in, just like one that I had, and see how well it does? It spit back the answer within 32 seconds,
Oh my gosh.
and I'm like, we did 100,000 calls to train this, and it missed a few little things, but if I spent some time working on it, so here's a business where you raise millions of dollars to build all the software, build the AI, build all those tools, and now it can be done just by prompting it, just by asking the ChatGPT to say, analyze this and tell me how they did. Here's the 10 things I want you to look for. And so that's
Wow.
what's happening now. That's what's like, this is the best time in life to be an entrepreneur. Best time. If you're an ideas person, you can now build it. You can build your first prototype, and maybe it needs more development, maybe it needs something else, but you can get it started. You can show somebody. So there's so much to be done. Like the power is in your hands because you've got this tool.
You know, I want you guys listening right now to really hear what Jason just said and really understand that. Since the primary purpose of our show is to help you guys, business owners and entrepreneurs, get out there and build a business, start selling stuff. Hence, make it easy for people to give you money. This is the very best time to become an entrepreneur, start your own business, take control of your life, and go for it. Look at all these tools we've got. Jason is the guy who's developing this AI stuff. It's incredible. Anything you can think of, you can just tell, you can probably program the AI just to go do it, correct?
You can, and literally. So I'll give you an example. There's an application out there called Mentimeter. It's a great application. It allows you to do live surveys within a presentation. So I'm standing up and they put up a QR code and you build it into your PowerPoint and you can send out a question and they can answer, and up pops the answers as they come. And the charts start to change as the answers start coming in. And I was doing this presentation on AI and I thought, I guess I better, use some of this AI, for I shouldn't buy a software. If I'm telling people you can build this, then I'm going to do it. I'm not a coder. Like I knew enough to do some of these math problems and some of the coding a model, but I've never really built a website or done any of those things. So I went in and I'm like, okay, let's do this. It took me a little while, but what's great is it would come up and it says, oh, you've got a problem here, and I'd say back to the machine, well, figure it out. Tell me what I need to do. And then it went and tried it again. It kept going and it figured it out. Gave me another option. So I built this, did this live in my presentation, and did the survey and gave them got the answers, showed it up on the board. And it's really, if you're determined, right? If you work through some of the roadblocks, and what you really have to know is know what you want, know what the process is, and know how to describe that. But honestly, I took pictures of another web page and said, hey, here's kind of what I'm looking at. So you can put those in, you can describe it. You said, but I want it to do this. And I said, I need an admin panel and I need something that goes out to the users. So like, this is a golden era for somebody who has ideas and understands, have some deep knowledge of some subject matter, right? Being a subject matter expert is really important still, because you can't just rely upon AI to be that smart, right? To get into and understand, how is a user going to interact with this in the best way? You have to know that.
Yeah, I've started realizing that as I'm starting to use AI in other aspects of my business. I find I have to know what I want. I start with the end. I have the idea at the beginning. I know what the end result is. And then I use AI to kind of fill in the gaps in between. and give it specific directions. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want the program to do. And sometimes it gets close, but then we have to go back and say, well, that's not quite right. Try doing it this way. And it'll go, oh, yeah, how's that? And by the way, I can do these other things. I, I get so excited about this. I start, my mouth stops working. So here's an experience I had the other day. So I was working on something and it did what I wanted to do. And I thought, oh my gosh, if this was a person, I would say thank you. But I know I don't do that anymore because it's just taking up energy and it has to think and then respond, thank you. So I didn't do that. But the AI goes, okay, I can also do these things. Would you like any of those? And I thought, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, do number 2 and number 3. And it created something for me I hadn't even thought of. And it just thought of it for me. And I told it what to do and it did it. And I thought, I ran in and told my wife, you will not believe what just happened. You may think I'm a genius, but we have a little friend in the office. We just tell it what to do.
Yeah, I see some of those suggestions and I say, do it all. Yeah, just do it all. Let me see what it looks like.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool.
The problem is my wife's now using it and we share an account and we have the pretty high end account in Claude.
Yeah.
And I think I pay $100 a month for it, but we still run out of, we're like using it so much, like, oh, she's out of her office. Like, well, I overused Claude. I need to give it a break. It says I need to let it have a break.
I've had that experience. My wife will go, why are you wandering around the office? Well, I have to wait like 10 more minutes before I can jump back on. It's a little bit of a glitch, but it's absolutely worth it. There was something you mentioned earlier that I kind of want to explore. You mentioned cryptocurrency and how AI is used for that. So I have a client who is he owns an investment firm and they're really big into the cryptocurrency. And one of the things that they're using and discovering is token and tokenization, which is all AI driven. And he explained something really interesting to me. He said, Michael, right now we're only in Web 2. He says, once we get to Web 3, that's when this tokenization thing is going to take off. That means if you use AI or anything, if you develop an app or you develop a program, you're going to own it. I mean, it's yours and you can actually tokenize it and sell rights to other people. All of that is AI. It was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. So my grandson is a publisher of a magazine, and he started to dive into the tokenization thing, and he's doing it right now. And we're still in Web 2. The sky is the limit. In fact, I don't even know if there is a limit in the sky. It's that powerful.
Yeah, there's a lot happening, and one of the there's a lot, most of the buzz is around a cryptocurrency, the currency in itself. But the underlying method and approach, right, is the blockchain. And it's the way it is connecting information and encoding it so that it's got a record, a track record. Everything is on the blockchain. You can watch every transaction. So those are all verifiable. And you can't undo it. So it's validated and verified. So where the blockchain becomes most powerful is right now I have an assistant, and my assistant is I call my assistant Jules, and I built this to do I've got about 18 different skills that it does for me.
Wow.
And so, but at some point what happens is when Jules goes out and makes a transaction and does that on the blockchain, that is connected and tracked and measured. And so that can be verified, and that will allow for instantaneous transactions. So you'll be able to sell things. Your app and your agent will be able to do these things on your behalf if you choose to allow that. And using the blockchain, everything is visible and verifiable. And there's this smart contract that when A does something for B, that is hashed together in a blockchain so that it's now verifiable, measurable, and observable, and all tracked in the blockchain. So that's really, to me, the magic of what's happening with blockchain, and cryptocurrencies are just a way to pass units of value back and forth.
Yeah.
Of course, people talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and these coins that have value in and of themselves, but it's what they're using, I think, is going to be the most valuable for us.
It is. We've got 3 or 4 minutes left. I do want to talk about something specifically about your business. And one of the things that you're doing at AI Dev Lab is you using AI for a transit AI platform. Can you explain what that thing is? It sounds incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a joint venture with IT Curves, and IT Curves has been in the transportation industry for 17 years, then the public transportation. So they do things like microtransit, fixed bus, and software in those areas. So I've been working with transportation industries in helping them leverage AI and use this platform to be able to speed up and improve their bus routes, look at the optimization of those routes. There's so many people that have questions and they don't have enough people to staff to be able to answer those. So we built out AI customer service agents. They'll even book a ride for you. So you can call in and say, I need to go to the nearest McDonald's and take me back, or I need to go to the doctor and it's at this hospital. And it finds that, books it for you. It'll look up your account, or you can pay for it right then. And it takes in the instructions. And these are a lot of these folks are those with disabilities, so they get picked up at the curb and they get taken to the hospital. And all of this now can be done. And I was in LA sitting with a blind gentleman who was reviewing one of our applications, and I watched him going through the visual way that he had to go through it, where it would read out every line on a screen. And we were designing a voice interactive so it could be just like talking, just like I explained. Instead of him having to go into the app and book a ride and find out where to get on, he would actually be able to just say, I need you to pick me up at this address and I'm going here. And it's like mind-blowing, the difference for him.
That's amazing. And that's what you're doing with the Transit AI platform?
Yeah.
Wow. And that's up and running right now. That's going, right?
Yeah, we've got those in Annapolis. We're rolling this out in Los Angeles. We've got it in Gaithersburg, Maryland. So yeah, it's helping people book rides. Right.
Wow. Now. And you've got something called Smart Dispatch. That would be excellent, I think, for logistic companies, wouldn't it? And
oh yeah, yeah. That's where the problem, for a person to keep track of this. Here's what happens: they've got a screen, like actually 6 screens in front of them, and a person is trying to say, "Okay, John's over here. You're calling from over here. I can send something out there instead." The computer can go into all the background, right, during the conversation and say, okay, I'm going to dispatch. John's going to be on a break here. We're going to do this. And it manages. So then it does the smart dispatching for them.
Oh my gosh. I got about a minute here. But before we go, I want you to give us your website address, your phone number, how people can get a hold of you if they have questions.
Awesome. Yeah, Jason Wells. So it's just Jason at aidevlab.com.
Okay.
And my phone number is 435-773-3400. And by the way, that's handled by an AI to ask questions. So if somebody's trying to spam me, it'll check.
I would expect nothing else. Oh my gosh. Jason, you have just been a breath of fresh air, and you're so full of information. I think we're going to have to do a part 2 of this. There's so much that we need to learn. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
In the meantime, we will see you guys next time with another exciting edition of Make It Easy for People to Give You Money.